Hey kiddos, I do change my house dresses upon occasion, only when I'm outside the house. Do I do the whole cover thing because Rocco's the only man that sees me. So I went to Mass today. Goodness, I have attended 3 Masses in 1 month. I wonder if I've reached my obligation. Well, I entered Mass, as the choir was practicing for Mass. Sat in I call it my pew. I like to think that the younger Ruth Lily used to sit there because we're both batshit crazy. But listening, reflecting, speaking with a few that like to drop by and chat with Sister. I think it was during the interlude prior to the procession. A younger person sat in the pew behind me first. I thought there were 2 people. Moved to the pew in front of me. Now, the person that does security knows that if a not so usual person sits in front of me, they're under my protection. The person was talking arguing with the individual that they could only see. The young person wanted to stay. The person that they saw wanted to leave. I listened to the conversation from the young person and could pick up some of the other conversation that was happening. And then the younger person said, "No, I'm not going to leave. I want to see the Pope." I wish I was not so restrictive, because I would have directly spoken to the person she could see. I could feel, but no one else would make note of. Maybe I could have persuaded the other person to just wait outside. Some of the battles people have to go through with themselves. And they usually find the pew in front of me. All I could do is spread my hands and say a quiet prayer. It was a somber way to enter service. I wasn't for certain what it all meant, except this little tiny God particle I got inside of me, that those that are troubled, need help, or have a situation, moths to the flame, but I don't singe wings. Mother Monique brought a very nice sermon. I spoke with the musical director. I may finally get someone to help me hear my transposing from piano to the pipe organ of Moonlight Sonata, the first movement. I used to compose and transpose. Carter took that away. Oh well, it'll be a blessing if this music director, choir director, organist will work with me. I think I have a handful of organists that said they would. But they always go on to better and brighter and higher positions. Sometimes I think Christ Church Cathedral is a stepping stone. Well, maybe it's a foundation, I don't know. I did go up for communion. I would rather go to the beloved than have the beloved brought to me. It's my own personal faith thing. I went out because I knew a homeless man was going to be out there. Oops, I gave away a gender. Sorry, kiddos. I've known and watched him for a few years. He always wants a smoke. I give him 3. Stand and talk and listen. Hear the homeless. He needs help, direction, someone to watch over him, but I don't have the strength, the titles, or anything to help him. Will he be out there this winter? Last winter he lost 5 toes and 6 fingers from frostbite. If he's out on the street this winter, he'll probably die. Reminds me of some biblical parables of those outside the gate of the temple. I wish I could lay hands on him and ease his troubled mind, but I can't. Not that I can't, not that I won't. I don't have that gift, but I can talk with him. Listen, hear him. In between the mumbles, there's words. And those eyes are a person. So I went back in for the forum. I find that sometimes they're very interesting. The Reformation of the church, which brought about the Anglican and Episcopal. Hey, Rocco. Mama's talking to the world. I love you too. Well, unfortunately, part of my blood generic past, my 59th great-grandfather was Flavius Theodosius, Holy Emperor of Rome. He was blessed by Saint Ambrose, who was Bishop Ambrose of Rome, and the tie-in with, at the same time, the burning of the libraries in Alexandria, the zealot takeover of Alexandria, Hypatia being murdered brutally. And then we step down to 30th direct line, both of them. Great-grandmother Eleanor of Castile, who was married to Longshanks. No, I'm not related via Longshanks. It's Eleanor of Castile. Well, then we get down to Henry VIII. The Reformation. Henry VIII was getting tired of having to find a reason to kill off wives and went to the Pope with one wanting to have an authorized divorce. Well, uh, this became a very bloody time in the islands. So England pulled itself away from the Roman Catholic Church and turned it into a monarchy, theocracy. So many people beheaded and drawn and quartered and burnt at the stake over who was in charge of God. Now that's bullshit. Because after Henry died, Mary daughter of Catherine of Aragon, well, she's better known in history as Bloody Mary. She brought back the Catholic faith. A second Reformation. So there were lots of Protestants killed, blah, 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 same as Henry, her father, had done. Then Elizabeth I takes over and picks up where Henry was. A little less monarchy, theocracy, but still the same. And then I look at how the church explains it. Knowing my blood ties with the whole thing, and it sort of gets discouraging. Bless them all, but I don't care. Call the Creator what you want and worship the Creator as you will. It's not worth killing anybody over. But by calling it the Reformation, it sounds awfully sweet and tidy. And then you get all those break-offs, the Puritans. The second trip the Mayflower made was to bring slaves from the Caribbean. Let that sink in. I may have told you before, one of my great uncles from Grandma Maggie McFarland Brown's side, a great uncle, came over on the Mayflower. On my father's side, the Wilsons, came another great uncle that was an indentured servant to the other great uncle. I have a bloodline conflict. No wonder I didn't have any children. Who'd want to bring them into this circle fight? So, a lot of reflection. Um, when I was living in Ireland, I went to one of the ruins of a church in County Roscommon, where one of Cromwell's generals packed the building full of priests and burned out the building. That was during Elizabeth I's reign, the last Reformation. They had a barbecue of Catholics, mostly elder priests. Stood in the middle of that ruin, and being an empath, could feel them. The fear, the torture, everything. I'm glad I went there because I could connect that part of history with my Irish history. Let me get this right. My 13th great grandmother direct line, the Blessed Margaret Ball, which associates with the balls in Muncie, the big canning operation. So, another conflict in the bloodline. We won't get into the race blending, but let's just say this covering of white doesn't run all the way through. I don't know quite how to place this. It's interesting. Just needed to get it off my chest, maybe. Ramble through it. But anyway, it's still a beautiful day outside. We had a touch of rain, and we're supposed to get more rain. So I can stop throwing water out the back door. Just a little secret if you want it to rain. Well, blessed be. Be blessed. Blessings. And always remember, no matter what, you are important. You matter. And also, you might do something that affects history.